Hi everyone. Today I'm going to go through the 5th at-home lesson, and it is called Multiplying and Dividing Monomials. So make sure that you are on the correct lesson. So I'm just going to scroll down and show you where you should be. So in your last lesson we did exponent laws, and that ended on page 7. So today we are going to go through page 8. So starting with key principles, then multiplying monomials, and then dividing monomials. All right, so the key principles to remember is the difference between collecting like terms and the product rule. Okay, so one is adding terms together and the other one is multiplying terms together. You're going to get two different answers. So when you're adding x plus x, it's kind of like adding, what's an apple plus another apple, right? It would be 2 apples. So this would give me 2x. Now when you're multiplying x times x, you need to use the product rule. And the product rule says that if you're multiplying two terms with the same base, you add the exponents, and each of these has an exponent of 1. So the answer of x times x would be x squared. Okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. So keep that in the back of your mind, because with these questions we're going to be multiplying monomials, right? We're not going to be adding them. So you need to use the exponent rules that we learned in the last lesson. So here it says multiply the numbers first and then use the exponent rules on the letters. So if there's values in front of each of the terms, you want to multiply those first. So 2 times 4 is 8. And then we have two different bases, right? An m and a p, so you can't do anything with that. You just list them. So that would be 8mp. The next question, -5 times 7 is -35. And again, we have two different bases, x squared and y, so we're just listing them in alphabetical order. And the third example, 3 times -8 is -24. And here we do have the same base, x and another x. And we're going to use the product rule, which means you're going to add the exponents. So 4 plus 5 is 9. Okay, make sure that you are showing the step. When you're doing your homework, show what you're doing to the exponents. And question D, the last question on this slide, -8 multiplied by -2 is +16. And then I look for the letters with the same that are the same. So we've got p squared, and we have a p to the exponent of 1. And then we have a q to the exponent of 1 and q to the exponent of 4. So we're going to add the exponents with the same letters. So 2 plus 1 and then 1 plus 4. And I'm showing my steps here. And then in the next line, I'm just going to write the answer. All right, so 2 plus 1 is 3 and 1 plus 4 is 5. Okay, make sure you have that step in between. Don't just go to the final answer. Question E, simplify each of the following, do not evaluate. All right, so these examples here have numbers, okay, for their bases. So remember the product rule works the same. It doesn't matter what the base is as long as they're the same. You're just going to rewrite the base, so 1/6, and then we're going to add the exponents. 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay, and then you just leave it like that because it says do not evaluate. Next question, 1/14, so that stays the same. And if we're dividing, we subtract the exponent, so 6 minus 2, which will give me 4. And then one last one here, 1/m, the bases are all the same, so just rewrite the base. And then we're multiplying in between, which means we're adding the exponent, so 2 plus 3 plus 1. You can do it all in one row, all in one step, which gives me 1/m to the exponent of 6. And notice how they're in brackets, so I'm writing them in brackets, right? I'm being consistent with how the question is started. All right, some examples for dividing monomials. Simplify each of the following. So you want to see if you can reduce these first. So what's a number that you can divide 18 by and 24 by? We want these in lowest terms. So I can divide this by 6 and divide that by 6. So 18 divided by 6 will give me 3, and 24 divided by 6 is going to give me 4. Okay, so I've simplified the values first. So 3 over 4. And then for the letters, we have a to the exponent of 1, and there's no a at the bottom. And then for the b's, the top one has a 1 and the bottom one has a 1. So since we're dividing, we're going to subtract those. And I'm showing my work, right? I'm not just going to the final answer. 1 minus 1, which will be 0. Okay, so 3 over 4, a to the 1, and then b to the 0 is they're just gonna cancel each other out, right? b1 divided by b1 is 1, so it's gone. So this is your final answer. Okay, 3 over 4, a to the 1. Next one, 28 and 7. What is a number that I can divide into 28 and then also into 7? Okay, I can divide this by 7, and I can also divide the 7 by 7. Okay, 28 divided by 7 is 4, and then 7 divided by 7 is 1. So 4 over 1, or you can just leave it as a 4. Don't forget your equal signs in the front. And then I'm subtracting the exponents on the a's. So 6 subtract 2. And then the b's are going to be 8 subtract 1. Okay, don't forget, if there's no exponent on a letter, the exponent is just 1. And the final answer will be 4. A, 6 minus 2 is 4. And then b to the exponent of 7. This is a 4. It's a little bit hard to see. There we go. All right, question C. What can I divide 32 and 4 by? So they're both divisible by 4. 32 divided by 4 is 8. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. Okay, so we can just write that as, I don't know why I wrote a 7 here, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. 7 divided by 7 is 1. I should have had a 1 over here. And 28 divided by 7 is 4. There should be a 4 up here. There we go. Okay, so divide both of those by 4, so you end up with 8 over 1, or 8. And then we're going to subtract the exponents going down, and then this way we're going to add. So I'm going to take care of this first. Okay, those are going to get added together. So x, and then 8 plus 3 as my exponents. And do this in a couple different steps. And then at the bottom we have a 1 in the front, which we can write, or we can just leave that out, and then an x squared. Okay, so that gives me 8x to the exponent of 11 divided by x squared. And then I'm going to subtract those exponents, so 8x 11 minus 2 as my exponent, which will give me 8x to the exponent of 9. That's my final answer. Okay, look at all the steps I'm showing. So make sure that you're showing your steps. You're less likely to make a mistake if you do that. All right, here I'm going to multiply these two first at the bottom, and that's going to give me negative 20. Oops, I'm just going to erase this equal sign. Okay, that's going to give me negative 20 at the bottom. And then I want to see if I can reduce the negative 25 and the negative 20. So since they're both negative, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So my answer will be positive. And then what about the number? So what can I divide 25 by and 20 by? So they're both divisible by 5. 25 divided by 5 is 5, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. So my values in the front, my coefficients, are going to be 5 over 4. And then what about my letters? So at the top, we have an M1, another M1, and then X8. And then at the bottom, M1 and an M2. So I'm going to take care of the top first. I'm going to add my exponents at the top for the m's. Sorry, that's my cat, if you can hear her in the background. 1 plus 1, and then x to the 8 at the top. And at the bottom, I guess I could have just written that. I could have just extended my line that I had. There we go. And then at the bottom, we have an M1 and a 2. So those are going to get added together. So I can do a couple of these in one step. Okay, 5 over 4. And what do I have at the top? So I have m squared x to the 8. And then at the bottom, just extend this, would be m cubed. Okay, so one more step. We're dividing here, so I'm going to subtract the exponents. And just showing my work, so 5 over 4 and 2 minus 3 and x to the 8. So I'm going to end up with a negative exponent here on the m's, which is okay. We haven't talked about negative exponents yet. So for now, just leave it as m to the negative 1. I will teach you in a different lesson of how to change that negative exponent into a positive one. But for now, this is good the way it is. And I've got 4 more examples in this lesson. These are division examples. They're actually the same as on the last page. So we're going to skip over these. I'm just going to delete that page. There we go. All right, so that's it for your lesson for this topic. Your homework is on the next slide, so you can just pause it so that you can see it in detail. Make sure that you are showing your work. All right, so here's the questions that you're going to be completing. And you can pause this video anytime to be able to see it. What I just want to go through really quick is how to show your work, okay? So don't just write the final answer for that. Actually show your steps. So don't forget your equal sign, try to be neat. And since we're multiplying here, we're going to be adding the exponents. Okay, so just write in the next line what you're actually doing. So 2 plus 5. And then the next line should be your answer. Okay, and that's going to get you good marks. If you just go to the final answer, then I'm just going to return it to you for you to show your work. The reason for that is because I am giving you the final answers. There we go. So if you just write this, then it doesn't show me that you know what you're doing. It looks like you're just looking at the final answer. So please show your steps. And if your answers don't match, ask a friend in the class, or if that's not possible, send me an email and I will try to help you out. Okay, or you can ask me in class, even during study hall. Even if you're not with me during study hall, just ask the teacher that's with you that you need to see me for a little bit of help, and then I'll just come to your classroom during that time. All right, good luck with your work.